You're listening to the Deidre Reigel Hope and Healing Radio Show, where your voice matters. We're glad you're here and believe you will be too. And now, Deidre Reigel with today's guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this brand new series. Today is part one of a series that I am so excited about. It is a series on artists, and as an artist myself, I was inspired to create this wonderful idea of platforming and showcasing other artists in many fields of art, and with the belief that we artists contribute greatly to our society. So this is so exciting for us, and today's guest, as I said, is Katherine Michelle Tanner. Actually, that's the first time I'm saying that. Today's guest is Katherine Michelle Tanner. And before I tell you about her, I'd like to just let you know how Katherine and I became acquainted. For years, I had lived and worked in Sarasota, Florida, and had done a lot of theater there. And there was a lovely gal who was in many shows that I was music directing called Lillian Moore. And we became dear friends, quite some adventures in theater together. She is a wonderful actor, wonderful film person, just a great delight to be around. And in the course of her travels, she did some work at Banyan Theater in Sarasota. Katherine Michelle Tanner was in another show at Banyan, and they managed to connect, and mutual admiration eventually led to their collaboration this past year in a play reading and on a film. So a big shout out and a thank you to Lillian Moore for connecting me to my guest today. So now I want to take a little bit of time here and just give a bio information on Katherine Michelle Tanner. She is originally from Hastings, Minnesota. She now lives in Sarasota, Florida, where she is the owner and artistic director of Tree Fort Productions, which is a performing arts studio with classes for all ages in acting, singing, dancing, film, photography, editing, and composing. Katherine is a professional actress, writer, director, singer, choreographer, composer, and teacher. As an actress, she is best known for her multi-award-winning performance of the one-woman play, The Amish Project, both off-Broadway and US Tour. Florida regional favorites include Proof, August, Osage County, Hamlet, Suddenly Last Summer, Metamorphoses, The Drowning Girls, The Glass Menagerie, The Last 5 Years, Charm, A Doll's House, Picasso's Women, and many more. Films include Waiting on Mary, The Darndest Things, 15 Minutes of Faye, A Chance to Live, Respire Mon Amie. She is the voice for the award-winning PBS Television Series Diamonds Along the Highway. Katherine recently won the playwriting competition at Clutch Productions in New York for her suffragist musical 19. She has written and composed the plays Shakespeare's Lovers, Idiot Servant, Echoes, Thumbelina, The Little Match Girl, The Enchanted Toy Shop, Pippi Longstocking, and her film directorial debut was The Crimson Cloak. Katherine holds a BA triple major from St. Olaf College and M.F.A. in acting from F.S.U. Asolo Theatre Conservatory. And when Katherine is not on stage or in the studio, she enjoys horseback riding, yoga, hiking, swimming, and traveling across the globe. Her website information I'm going to give right at the top of the show. It's www.KatherineMichelleTanner.com. I'm going to spell that KATHERMIChelleTanner.com. Don't worry if you didn't get that all right now. It will be displayed in the visuals. And if you wish to contact Katherine by email or by phone, you can reach her at Tree Fort Productions, and that phone number is 941-5, I'm going to say that again, 941-544-2276, and her email is treefortproductions2@gmail.com, and that is TREEFORTPRODUCTIONS, the number 2@gmail.com, and again, that will be displayed in our visuals. Now, all of that said, I am delighted to finally be able to say hello to Katherine Michelle Tanner. Welcome today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, Katherine. It's such a delight to have you here. If I understand correctly, we're actually speaking with you from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where you are on, I think, a 2-month theater assignment. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm on the beautiful Matilda adventure. I'm directing and choreographing that magical show here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'll be here until mid-September, about September 20th. So.
Well, congratulations on the gig. I know we're always happy as theater people to travel and meet new people and do things. And
exactly.
Congratulations on your gig. And I really appreciate you taking time out of what I know is a hectic production schedule. So I'd like to engage us in our conversation about the arts and about you as an artist. And so the first question I'd like to ask you, Katherine, is what inspires you to do your work and your art?
Many things inspire me, but I think at the core, when I thought about this question and when I think about it daily, when I approach a piece of work is this worthy of being told? Is this story worthy of being told? And it really becomes the issue of I can't squash that momentum. And that inspires me. If something really grabs a hold of me that I didn't see coming, I get really excited about it. When I think of telling the truth in storytelling, that really inspires me. It just comes down to that notion of what inspires me is the intuition to really tell the truth in whatever capacity it is, in composing, choreographing, which is a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing to find, and sometimes you have to go to the other side of the pendulum to then drop back. But it just inspires me to know that art is the one thing that truly connects us all. And that has always resonated with me, and that's that intuition I can't squash. I really can't, as you can tell by the many things I do daily.
Your bio is stunning. And, yes, you speak about the intuition and not squashing the truth. And you just said about going to the opposite end of the pendulum. I think I heard you correctly. If you said if you feel maybe the truth is too strong, that you go to the opposite end of the pendulum. So what would that mean then for you going to the opposite end of the pendulum with truth?
Sure. For example, if I'm, let's just say I'm doing a piece about grief, and I'm approaching it a little more tentatively than I anticipated. Sometimes I might go really far over the edge in the grief and storytelling to then realize it's too much, let's pull back. Or the other way, if it is too much when we first approach a project, let's pare this down and see if it can live in a smaller capacity and still be told simply. It's really a balancing act, and I think it's a lot like a painter. My father was a painter. He would sometimes start a painting and then flip over the canvas and try something else. He just, it was a constant shift of, is this too much? Is this too little? But if you don't play with it, you're not going to realize what it can be. You really won't know. So I think that I feel lucky to have a medium in theater and in storytelling in many capacities in which to play. I can go over the top, I can pull back, I can do all of those things. It's great.
Oh, how lucky we all are in the arts. And you spoke about your intuition and storytelling, and I know for myself as an artist that I have a sense of service to my audience, whoever they may be. And I think I'm hearing the same desire on your part to tell the truth and to clothe it in beauty in such a way that it can be received, and to have the courage to play with that truth. And my personal opinion, it takes great courage to be an artist.
It does. You have people don't fully realize we don't live in a la-la land. We're very articulate about it, and it isn't just whimsical. It's well thought out sometimes. Sometimes it just comes our way, and we have to roll with it. And it wasn't what we wanted or expected, but then you do it, and it tends to lead you down the path of greatness or disaster. But that's not disaster to me. If you follow that gut instinct, you're going to learn from it. I never think that people fail. I'm like, you failed up. You did something, so that's a good thing.
That's a lovely way of looking at it. I don't think we fail. We are simply experimenting. And again, it takes great courage to pursue this, to experiment, to try, to explore. And, by the time an audience sees the finished product, they may not actually know what went on behind the scenes and what courage it took to create that. So I congratulate you on everything you've accomplished so far. And we've been talking about the idea of arts being of service, and I believe, of course, that we artists have a nobility about us and a sense of leadership that we can go where some other institutions cannot go, because we are storytelling and presenting things in such a way. So that causes me to realize that every time any of us steps on a stage or produces a film or does what you and I are doing right now, that we are having an impact on the people who are experiencing what you and I in this moment are creating. And so yourself as an artist, can you tell us what impact you would like to make with your artistry and your work?
I mean, truly, this question comes up a lot. People ask me this a lot, like, what's the legacy you want to leave? And it's funny because I'm not married and I don't have children, and I'm in, other great relationships. But it's very unique to be living at a time that you get to curate what your legacy might be. I hope that we all live that way. I hope that all mothers, fathers, workers at the store, that we're all feeling we're not just passing through this life, that you get to choose. And choosing is difficult, but I prefer to choose than to just, waffle through life wondering what I'm doing. And I feel like I was born to do these jobs. I do feel that way. I used to not follow my gut on my writing at the beginning because I didn't think I had anything to say. And it wasn't really until my late 20s where I started to listen to that a little bit more and to share it. And once I shared it, my friends were like, and my coworkers were like, you've got like 15 years of scripts. And I'm like, yeah, I've been kind of writing on the side. But I think in terms of that legacy, oftentimes, I'll be honest, I don't think of what I'm leaving as much as I think of the relationship. I hope that people say, yes, she was great in this role, and I loved working with her. But more importantly, I hope that they say she was a really great person. And oftentimes, people who don't know what I do, that excites me a little bit more, and that we're still friends. They don't really ever see me on stage, or they've never seen a film I've done, or they've, and we're still friends. We still go garage sailing, and we, have fun together, because that means more to me. The art of my life means more to me, or just as much as the art that I'm leaving, that's tangible or that we experience.
What a great way to look at that. I think that we as artists need to stay very connected to our humanity and the ins and outs of daily life. Otherwise, we lose our ability to express. And I love this answer, yeah.
And there's an odd, and I tell young people this all the time, there's an odd self-worth that gets filled up with the amount of projects you have, or that you have a project. And you have to remember, you can still fill the tank, even if you don't have a project for a year or 6 months or 2 years. But if you're not actively filling your tank of friendships and love and kindness and giving back to other people, you might feel empty because you don't have a project. And you shouldn't wrap your entire self-worth in all that you do. Now, having said that, I just am in the middle of a very busy 2019. So it's nice to be here and to kind of slow down a little bit and have a few less things to do. And I can, cook the meal and invite my friends over and enjoy that art. The art of living is equally as important to me.
That is a magical phrase, the art of living. And I know that you're having great success with your musical 19, and, of course, I wish you even more success with that. I love this balance that you are able to maintain and understand that all living is art, and you are simply using your tools to express another type of art. Yes. Beautifully said. So that drives me right into the next question that I'm so excited to ask you. What are you currently working on that you want to share with us, Katherine?
Well, how much time do you have? But more importantly, I'm actually scoring. I'm actually fully scoring the production of 19. 19 is a musical that I wrote 3 years ago, like 2.5 years ago, for my students, and it was to celebrate the 100th year anniversary of passage of the 19th Amendment. And then also in 2020 will actually be, it was the 99th year this year in 2019, and it is the 100th year anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment in August of 2020. So the script started just to kind of educate my 7 students in this production. And then when the parents came to see it, they were like, this is really good. We really like it. And I was like, yeah, okay, thank you. And then I thought more about it, and more people wanted to see an adult version. So to make things a little fiscally more, I think, enticing for smaller theaters, I turned it into a 2-woman show, and it works equally well as a play reading as it does staged. You can do it as like a staged reading for a conference or a group of people.
Yes.
And I do think the message still gets across, but then you can also mount it. And I also have a bigger version. You can make it 5 or 7 people if you would like. The colleges really enjoy that. So I'm finishing the score because as of 3 weeks ago, I just added 2 new songs. So I'm here by day with my keyboard and my violin and my recorder and my harmonica. I look like a traveling, like gypsy musician show in the back of my car. And I'm here. I work. It's pretty fascinating. I work on that for about 2 hours a day, just finishing up tying up some loose ends on that. And then I'm very blessed to announce it will be produced as a full stage production this March 2020 for Women's History Month at a theater in Tampa, Florida called Stageworks. We are, wow. Yeah, I'm thrilled because it's been a 3-year journey, and people often say it takes 3 years to write a musical, and I was like, mine's more like a play, like a historical play with poetry and music, but they weren't kidding. It takes well over. When are you done? That's a good question, is when are you ever really done with the piece? And
you're never done. As a playwright myself, you're never done. I'm like you. I'm in the same place composing, and it's just, you're never done, and it's good.
Yes, and I keep humming new tunes, so at some point I'll be like, okay, we're in Tech Week, I need to be done. But we open February 28th, and then it runs until March 6th up at Stageworks. And I'm so thrilled that people have rallied around this piece. I did a few workshops of it. I just finished a workshop last week, believe it or not, last Thursday, so a week ago today. I put it up in front of about 100 people to kind of find the flow. We did a really nice stage reading. And then I did a big workshop of it last year in 2019 March. And that really informed me what direction it needed to go in. So you just have to keep throwing the paint up and seeing what's working and what isn't working and not be too precious with it.
Absolutely. Well, just as a little side note, when Lillian first told me about you and 19 and her excitement about it, I said, Lillian, my mother was born in 1917. I get that. My mother was born in 1917. She was born before women in this country had the right to vote. So just by genetics, I have a real heart for this, and I think many of our listeners do as well. This was a big deal in our history. So let me just give those dates again and see if I wrote them down correctly. Next February and into the early part of March, it's at Stageworks Theater in Tampa, Florida. You will be mounting 19. Am I correct? So it's February 28th to March 26th. Am I correct?
It's actually till March 6th. So we do 8 shows. 2 weekends.
Got it. And that is at Stageworks in Tampa, Florida. So
it is. When I was researching, I'm glad that you said that about your mother. When I was researching the show just again this summer, I realized my grandmother, I'm the youngest of 2 girls. My mom, I kind of start the show with this. My mom is the youngest of 3 girls, and her mother was the youngest of 13 children, boys and girls. And she was born in 1900. I have older parenting and older grandparents. And so the very first vote in America by a woman was cast in my county And she was 20 years old when she was able to first vote. It was the very first woman's vote. So I feel really tied to that. And I actually did not know that when I wrote this script. I had no knowledge of this. So the more research I do, it was not in my hometown, and it certainly wasn't my grandmother, but it was the very first female vote on record was in South St. Paul, Minnesota, which is kind of crazy.
Wow. It becomes personal for all of us, doesn't it? And this is the value of art. This is why I think, we artists take our rightful place in our society. One final question, Katherine, as we come to the end of our time together. What is something you'd like to do in your very exciting future?
I've been, many years ago, my father passed away kind of unexpectedly a few years ago, about 4 years ago now, and my friend, Carol Kleinberg, said, you really need to write something about your relationship with him, how close you were, and how he was an artist and a very different artist than just a completely different path. He was really a visual artist and would build things, and it was just different than writing and performing. And she said, I really want you to write something about that. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I would want to say, but I'm in the midst of forming a quilt of ideas, and I think it might be enough to make a quilt, meaning some kind of fill up a notebook of sorts, of ideas of something about that. And I would really like to see that play come to life on paper and then maybe be read aloud or something. That would be really thrilling to me.
Yeah.
Because I think it is scary to write about that closeness, but it's not really. There's a lovely way of sharing that journey. And those types of things. 19 is really dedicated to my mother, and the Crimson Cloak is dedicated to both of them. So it would be nice to kind of give this moment to him, my dad. So we'll see.
Oh, how beautiful. Talk about a legacy. And opening up the door for people to really explore their own relationships with their parents. And again, this is a service that we as artists offer, and it takes great courage. So this is very exciting for you. I personally would love to encourage you to do that, Katherine.
Okay, well, listen, hold me to it and call me in like a year, and we'll see where we're at.
I have a feeling you and I are going to be talking much sooner than just a year from now.
I hope so.
So this is so wonderful. Before we say goodbye to Katherine, let me just remind everybody that she has just shared with us that her new musical called 19, about women getting the right to vote in this country, will be actually going to the boards, as we say in the theater world, meaning will make its public debut in Tampa, Florida at Stageworks, and those dates are February 28th through March the 6th. So I would recommend everybody who's listening to this, put this on your calendar now, and of course through social media and other promotion, I'm sure Katherine's going to be letting us all know exactly how we book those tickets and when we can book our dates. So that's very, very, very exciting, Katherine. Congratulations on everything you are doing.
Thank you.
I want to thank you as another artist for the contributions you're making to our society and the balance you're bringing. And I really want to thank you for taking time out to be on my show today.
Thank you.
Along with the rest of our audience, we just wish you the very best, and we will stay in touch. Ladies and gentlemen, I have such great news that I just had to make an addition to Katherine's interview. The good news is that the theater in Tampa, which is Stageworks Theater, is so excited about her show called 19 that they have actually extended the date. So I'd like to give you those new dates. The show will still open on February the 28th of 2020, and it will run until March the 8th. Rather than March the 6th, it will run until March the 8th of 2020. So stay in touch with Katherine as she gives out information about how to book those tickets. Again, her show has been extended, and I wish to offer her congratulations. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Katherine Michelle Tanner. Hope you have enjoyed everything today. Katherine, once again, thank you, and to our listeners, take care for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the show and host. This podcast and its content are not intended to diagnose or treat any medical or mental condition or substitute for proper professional care in this regard. You've been listening to the Deidre Reigel Hope and Healing Radio Show, where your voice matters. We hope you have enjoyed this podcast and found inspiration for your own life. If you would like to be a guest on this show, please contact us at drhoperadio@gmail.com. That's drhoperadio@gmail.com. I'm Oliver Dill on behalf of all of us here at the Deidre Reigel Hope and Healing Radio Show, wishing you a day full of joy and goodness.